All right, guys, this is lesson 15. This might seem a little confusing to some of you. Please don't stress out. Some of you are picture people and some of you are not picture people. So don't stress out. If it makes sense to draw pictures, do it. If it doesn't make sense to draw pictures, don't do it. Try it, but you're not going to know if it doesn't work until you try it. So now we're drawing an area model for each pair of fractions. So what we're doing is using a picture. So before we used number line, now we're using a picture to compare two fractions. The first two have been partially done for you. All right, so we're going to see here that 1/2 is less than 2/3. Okay, so I'm going to complete my picture here. Okay, so 1/2 is less than 2/3. So here's my 1/2, and what I'm doing is I'm multiplying it times 3. Half right here, boom, 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 1, 2, 3. Each half has 3. And when I do that, I see 3/6. Here we go. So it's 1/2 times 3. I've taken my half and I've multiplied it into 3 parts. I get more parts and the parts get smaller. That's what happens when you multiply fractions. Down here, we've got 2/3. So we're showing that 2/3 is now multiplied by 2. So here's, ignore that dotted line for a second. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Ignore that dotted line for a second. Now I'm going to take those 2/3, 1/3 and 2/3, multiply it by 2. There's my dotted line. That's where that comes in. And when I do that, I get more parts and the parts get smaller. So now I see 4/6. And I can see that 1/2 is smaller than 4/6, which is the same as 2/3. So what you're doing is you're making them equivalent. Remember, anytime you multiply a fraction by the same numerator and denominator, same number, you get equivalent fractions. So what you're doing here, see how now our denominators are the same? When your denominators are the same, you're able to compare them better. So I can see that 3/6 is a smaller amount than 4/6 because 3 parts is smaller than 4 parts. So what I'm doing is I'm making my fractions have equivalent denominators to help me compare them. All right, let's do this one over here. So we've got 4/5 and we have 3/4. So what you want to do, 4/5, oops. We've got 4/5 and we've got 3/4. And you want to look at these numbers and ask yourself, what do they have in common? Like, what larger number for a common denominator do they have in common? And the answer is going to be 20. Honestly, you want to pick the smallest common denominator. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to multiply both of our fractions to get new fractions that have the same denominator. And then our pictures are going to have the same number of parts because they both have the same denominator. So what number times 5 gets me to 20? The answer is 4. So I'm going to multiply both of these by 4. So I've got 16/20. And I'm going to compare that down here to another fraction with the same denominator. It's going to make it so much easier. 4 times 5 is 20, so 3 times 5 is 15. So now you can already see which fraction's smaller than the other, but we need to make some pictures. All right, so right here, I need to show 16/20. So I need to separate this into 20 parts. This is longer than this, so this should be your longer number. 20 is 5 times 4, so I need this to be 5 columns. Not the most equal, sorry. And this is going to be 4. Okay? So there's 20 squares, and I need to show 16 of them colored in. All right, so there is 16/20. Here I need to show 15/20, but look, this side is shorter, this side is longer. So I need this to be my 4, it's already done for you, and this is going to be my 5. And I need to show 15/20. And when I do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have to color. I don't want to color the other way, because if I color the other way, I'm going to have like an extra box in a row all by itself. So the picture, it's kind of, I think is a little confusing because the pictures are going in different directions for you. But if you can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts left over here, and there's only 4 parts left over here, you can see that this takes up more space. So 16/20, I'm sorry, 4/5 is represented by 16/20. So that's going to be greater than 15/20. So what you're seeing here is this fraction is equivalent to this one, and this fraction is equivalent to this one. It's almost like they're substituting one another to make it easier for you to understand. I'm going to try one without a picture because some of you prefer that way, and I'm fine with that, and I'm sure Mrs. Anderson would be as well. So let's see. We want to compare 3/5 and 4/7. And this is where all that multiplication practice comes in. You're going to ask yourself, what number is common for 5 and 7 when multiplied? And the lowest number would be 35. So we're going to come up with 2 fractions with the same denominator. It's going to be much easier to compare them. So what number that when you multiply this and this gets you to 35? So 5 times what is 35? You're always going to do the first number here. You have both parts. You need that missing piece, and the answer is 7. So you're going to multiply the top and bottom both by 7, and 3 times 7 is 21. 21/35. Whew, that's quite the fraction. But I guarantee it's going to make a lot more sense when you see what this one's going to be. It's going to help you compare them because they're talking about the same size pieces. All right, so 7 times what is 35? We might have seen that before. So let's see, right up here, right? 7 times 5 is 35. So I'm also going to multiply this one by 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Look at that. So much easier to compare. 21/35, more parts out of 35 than 20/35, less parts. So you have to remember that this fraction represents this one, and this fraction represents this one. So it's almost like they're in disguise. And then when they go back up here, you're going to know that this one is bigger than that one. All right. Hope that helped you guys. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to go around and do this for the rest of your life. This is going to be more the way you're going to show equivalent fractions. All right. Have a good day, guys. Bye.